This review is on the book Eruption by Michael Crichton and James Patterson. I'm the angry guy. I'm going to tell you like it is. I have so much respect for the late Michael Crichton, who was the creator of the television series ER. We have watched all 331 episodes of ER 2 times and working on our third. First time we watched all of them was between September 1994 and April 2009. The second time we recorded all episodes, but they weren't in order. At that time, they did not show the episode titled Freefall, where Dr. Romano's arm was cut off by a helicopter rotor. They also didn't show the complete episode when Dr. Carter and Lucy got stabbed by a patient in the episode titled Be Still My Heart. At the present time, we are on Season 7, Episode 6, titled The Visit, which we recorded all the episodes because Dish offered ER series in a chronological order. Mr. Crichton is the only writer in history to have #1 book, a #1 film, and #1 television series at the same time, and he did it twice. When Mr. Crichton was creating a manuscript for a book, he wouldn't tell anyone, even his own wife, what he was writing about, but he did offer the title. Sometimes after he passed, Mrs. Crichton found the unfinished manuscript, Eruption, in the file cabinets. The only person she fully trusted with the unfinished manuscript was James Patterson. The book Eruption started out quickly on the big island of Hawaii with banyan trees in the Hilo Botanical Gardens, where trees were turning black by an inky pimple blackness spreading like smoke rising from the ground, with a thunderous roar in the background with no storm on the horizon to make the entire area seem like a scene from a horror show. The story circles around Mac, John McGuire, who could do anything from teaching young boys how to surf to being a co-pilot in an F-15 fourth generation EX Eagle II in 10 minutes with no formal training except watching Top Gun on a continuous loop in his younger days. John McGuire, with his many talents, was a geologist who was head of the volcanical lab at Hawaii Volcanical Observatory. The more the island shook with tremors, the more the government wanted to go to paradise and be responsible for the citizen safety. Yeah, sure. The military's main object was, in the 50s, they created a dangerous virus. It was so dangerous they had to neutralize it, and how they did that, they added radioactivity, only to the extent if it remained in the glass containers. The glass containers were stored in a cave called Ice Tube in a mountain across from the high potential volcanic that lava might reach the delicate glass containers. From the 50s to the present day, the military was going to move the glass containers, but their excuses were the United States had several conflicts with hostile and domestic violence, lack of funding, apathy, and totally wanted to ignore the entire Holocaust scenario. That is, if the glass containers broke during an eruption, the cloud plume of deadly disease and radioactivity would be carried off in the jet stream around the world. This would cause all vegetation turn to ash, along with the entire population of the world. Since I was in the military and have lived for 70 years, I did find some inconsistencies in the storyline which really bothered me. When Mac repelled into a live volcano to save people, he was 50 yards and 20 yards from a hot lava to get a toolbox, and he made it back alive. My daughter and I took my daughter took me to an indoor motocross event, and they had a 40-foot metal dragon that shot fire out of its mouth. We were seated about 30 yards away from the giant flamethrower, and when it blew the hot, long, giant flame out of its mechanical mouth, I felt as if my face got sunburned just by the heat. Went inside. A new chopper, Brent, and the callers had to shout over the noise being made outside the chopper. Why weren't they wearing their headsets in the chopper? There are no keys for any military Jeep since World War II. If I remember, there are 2 floppy switches to flip and a starter button up for like a dimmer switch used to be located in the cars. You locked your Jeep with a chain wrapped around the steering wheel and the frame to the driver's seat. Mac was always so busy. He had so much to do at all times for the safety of the people living on the island. But with tremors becoming greater and more often, Mac had time to go surfing with a young man he was mentoring. In the storyline, the characters move so quickly from one place to another in no time at all. It takes more than 10 minutes to put a flight suit on and let a person know what to touch and not to touch in a 4th generation F-15 fighter aircraft. Maps in front and back of the book were great to look at, but at the beginning of the story, I found out real quick the nice map shows about half what the book is talking about. Oh, This instant in the book was hard to believe. Flying over a live volcano, and cameraman was leaning out of a chopper too far, and the pilot made a hard left, and the poor soul landed on the red-hot molten lava. And someone still went back and picked his body up. Let's say half his body, because I know darn well his face is burned off. After reading this book, a person really gets to know the inside and out of a volcano, like the empirical data and geological mapping, hydraulic modeling of previous downhill lava flows from previous eruptions. What the fuck? Terms like VOG and the different colored flags to warn citizens how dangerous the volcano is to human beings. Besides being all man, Mac was the foreman for a high-low civilian construction crew. I think I'm in love. In the story with the description of the molten hot lava all over the place, I was amazed the most important place like the airport still had electricity. This one really frosted my bro globes. Two chopper in the book went inside the volcano and made it alive. Further, the chopper goes down, more and more ash and glass particles will adhere to the chopper blades to make altitude climbing impossible or non-existent. When I was in the Army and not behind the crowd, I delivered a repaired UHF radio to the AMT, the aircraft maintenance technician. In his large hangar, he had a one chopper blade balanced on a fulcrum. I asked him, what's going on with the chopper blade? He said he's repainting the white stripes on the rotor blade for a medevac chopper, and they had to be perfectly balanced, even the equal amount of paint on each side. I go, damn. Out of an Outback score, I gave the book Eruption a C. That is shown total respect to Michael Creighton and his wife, Mrs. Creighton. Thank you for watching this. Appreciate your viewing and value your comments. Hey, take care out there. Be safe.